Lewis Hamilton's biggest challenge in 15 years of F1, adapting to drive like a Ferrari champion. What's up, racing fans? Today we're diving into the most talked about F1 story of 2025, Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari Red. The 7-time world champion has finally made the move many thought would never happen. But here's the million-dollar question we'll answer by the end of this video. Can Hamilton completely rewire his championship-winning driving style in time to challenge for another title with Ferrari? The answer might shock you. The Australian Grand Prix weekend has given us our first real look at Hamilton in the Ferrari during an official race weekend. While his teammate Charles Leclerc topped the timesheets in FP2, Hamilton was almost half a second behind. That gap tells a fascinating story most fans are completely missing. What Hamilton told F1 TV after practice reveals something crucial about his adaptation process. He said, "The car feels so much different to what I've ever experienced, but what exactly does that mean?" Stay tuned because we'll reveal exclusive technical analysis of Hamilton's driving style that's never been broken down before. Plus, we'll show you the exact moment in FP2 where Hamilton tried something that might completely change his approach to racing the Ferrari. Let's break down what made Hamilton such a force at Mercedes. His driving signature has two key elements that brought him 7 world championships. First, his braking technique. Lewis is known for hitting the brakes extremely late, then masterfully balancing the car on the edge of rotation. Watch this clip from his Mercedes days. See how he keeps the car just on the limit of spinning? Second, his steering inputs. Hamilton uses numerous tiny movements through corners, constantly feeding energy into the front tires. This creates a dancing rear end that most drivers would hate, but Lewis thrives on it. What makes Hamilton special is his ability to maintain incredible corner speed while the rear is moving around. Most drivers would back off, but Lewis uses that movement to rotate the car faster. Now let's look at the Ferrari approach, embodied by Charles Leclerc. Leclerc uses what engineers call a little turn, big turn technique, especially in medium and slow corners. Watch his steering inputs here. First a small turn to settle the car, then a more decisive turn in. This two-stage approach reduces understeer, which the Ferrari has historically been sensitive to. The overall result? Leclerc's style is much smoother than Hamilton's. Less movement, less dancing, more precision. Look at this side-by-side comparison from Melbourne practice. Leclerc's steering wheel barely moves once he's committed to the corner. Hamilton's hands are constantly making micro-adjustments, something that worked brilliantly in the Mercedes but might be fighting against the Ferrari's natural balance. The car doesn't feel bad, Hamilton admitted. It just requires a different way of driving. This adaptation challenge is massive. Imagine being the best in the world at something for 15 years, then having to change your fundamental approach at age 40. Here's what Hamilton needs to modify. Less frequent steering inputs, smoother transitions between braking and turning, less reliance on rear rotation, adapting to Ferrari's unique front-end response. The fascinating part? We're watching this transformation happen in real time, session by session. Look closely at this final run from FP2. You can already see Hamilton experimenting with a smoother approach through the high-speed turn 11 to 12 sequence, holding the wheel more steady and letting the car flow naturally. The gap to Leclerc tells an interesting story. In the high-speed sectors where instinct takes over, Hamilton's old habits emerge and the gap grows larger, up to 0.3 seconds in the final sector alone. But check out the middle sector data from his final run. When Lewis consciously applies the new technique, the gap shrinks dramatically to just 0.08 seconds. What you didn't hear broadcast was Hamilton's engineer telling him, "Great improvement in Sector 2, Lewis." That's exactly the approach we discuss. According to our sources inside the paddock, Ferrari's simulation data shows that if Hamilton can fully adapt his style, he could potentially be 0.2 seconds faster than Leclerc due to his exceptional car control. The technical challenge is massive, but the mental aspect might be even harder. Imagine rewiring muscle memory built over decades. Hamilton has completed over 300,000 corners in Formula 1 with his signature style. Changing that requires extreme mental discipline. What Hamilton is attempting is like asking a tennis champion to change their serve technique mid-career. It requires not just practice but a complete mental reset. What makes this situation unique is how open Hamilton has been about the process. Rather than hiding behind generic comments, he's acknowledging the journey. This transparency shows his confidence. Hamilton believes he can make this transition, and history suggests we shouldn't doubt him. So to answer our question from the beginning, can Hamilton completely rewire his championship-winning driving style in time to challenge for another title with Ferrari? The evidence suggests yes, and here's why. First, Hamilton has successfully adapted before. From Bridgestone to Pirelli tires, from V8s to hybrids, from high to low downforce eras, Lewis has evolved repeatedly throughout his career. Second, the gap is already shrinking. From 0.6s in FP1 to 0.4s in FP2 shows remarkable progress in just one day. Finally, and most importantly, importantly, Hamilton's adjustment isn't about completely abandoning his style, it's about blending his natural talents with Ferrari's car philosophy. What we're witnessing isn't just a driver changing teams, it's a champion reinventing himself for one final chapter of greatness. The adaptation process might be challenging now, but it could lead to something special that nobody thought possible, an 8th world championship in the most iconic team in motorsport. That's it for our deep dive into Hamilton's Ferrari adaptation. If you want to see how this story develops, you need to check out our upcoming video this weekend, Ferrari versus Red Bull, inside the technical war that will decide the 2025 championship. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell us in the comments, will Hamilton master the Ferrari before the European season begins? See you in the next one.